What's that, Lassie? Legacy is 50% combo? What should we do? Play play every variant of lands known to mankind? Are you sure that's what we're supposed to? Oh, okay, if you're sure. Hello folks, Phil Gallagher, aka ThrabenU here for another Legacy video, and once again we are playing a lands variant. Keeley has asked us to play Field of Bearers, another one of these Living Wish Lumra Bellow of the Woods lands deck. I have made very few changes to the original deck list that was submitted. I think it looks solid. So when I was sent the list, I was sent a comment. I don't really know how to get the last Life from the Loam and the Mulch in there, but I'm pretty sure they belong in the deck, and I wholeheartedly agree. I think to be a keepable hand in Legacy when playing this deck, you really want one of like these 16 cards here. Actually, this version has Manabond, so that helps out a lot. I think you need one of these cards. I don't know that you just get to keep a hand that has 6 or 7 lands. The explorations and Manabonds in particular let you pop off really hard, either fairly making extra land drops or unfairly making extra land drops. Now, in case you're not familiar with the Manabond interaction with Field of the Dead, if you dump all of your lands into play from your hand at the same time with Manabond, that can give you a combo finish where you go and get a whole bunch of zombies at the same time because all of the lands do see each other enter. There are sort of offensive lands like Field of the Dead in this deck, and then defensive lands like Maze of Ith, the Tabernacle at Pendrell Vale, Blast Zone, Caracas, and even Bojuka Bog. Sometimes this deck runs Urza's Saga, sometimes it doesn't. I think that one can kind of go either way. Same thing with Dark Depths. I think you need something that can be a non-land based win condition if you are going to be playing a lands deck in Legacy right now. And Living Wish gives us access to Lumra, which is kind of an end game, just absolute haymaker. Now, I am a little worried about playing decks that look like this right now in Legacy because there's a lot of Harbinger of the Seas running around. There's a lot of Magus of the Moon and Blood Moon running around. We have a fair number of answers to those things. We might be getting to the point where I need to consider a fight creature for the sideboard that can kill these things upon entering the battlefield. I don't think we're quite there yet. I think with double basics and a decent amount of ability to dig towards them and a couple of crop rotations that you can probably get to green somewhat reliably to cast Lumra in a way that allows you to take over a game. Otherwise, we have some number of outs to things that are going to be shutting off our mana bases, be that Dismembers or Bosejus or the Reclamation Sage that we have access to. The original build had 4 crop rotations. I've cut down to 2. I think crop rotation is a reasonable card, but I think it is more important to have this selection and additional fuel right now. Otherwise, I just did some fine-tuning to the mana base. I swapped out a Surveil land for one of a different secondary color, just in the slight respect of being able to sometimes not pay the full life cost on Dismember to get rid of creatures. And the biggest change that I made, there were originally more copies of Damping Sphere here, and I think a couple other things that addressed artifacts, and I have subbed them out for Leyline of the Void. Legacy is really combo focused at the moment, and a lot of those combo decks are touching the graveyard right now, with things like Oops All Spells and Reanimator being very, very popular. And I think we just need to hit the graveyard very hard. Living Wish for Fairy Macabre is great. I am very glad to have that as an option, but I think we need something that says no a little bit more quickly than that. While our deck can do some really disgusting things with Manabond, I don't know that we are going to do those things in the average game. We are hoping to play against slower decks. And I think things in the Delver ballpark qualify here. And hopefully, like our Maze of Iths and Tabernacles and Land Destruction and Blast Zones can do a lot of work there. Regardless of results, I have always enjoyed playing this deck. So let's get into it. Folks, if you need some magic cards, you know where to go. TOAmagic.com. Tales of Adventure is an awesome store. You see this purple banner in an in-person event. Check them out for some great deals. Promo code ThrabenU will save you 5% on any orders that you place online. And they've got everything from standard to even vintage stuff. Go buy some power. Tell them I sent you. That being said, let's battle. Phil from the future here. If you are on a limited amount of time, round 5 is the round to watch. It is crazy tight and some very wild things happen. Enjoy the show. All right, we have gotten paired against a Yorion deck of some kind. I get to start this game on exploration, and then I have Life from the Loam shortly thereafter. This is fantastic. Ooh, it's a Force of Negation. We don't love seeing that. So hopefully our opponent is playing a land base that we can just wreck with Wasteland. Like if our opponent is playing like a 5-color beans deck? What the fuck does Watery Grave mean? Field of the Dead? And it's just an extra Underground Sea with a different name? That is going to be my working hypothesis here. Nice. I am always wanting to do that. Days is now off. We'll exploration again. We'll drop Field of the Dead as a tapped land that produces mana so that I can Life from the Loam Wasteland back next turn. And this is off to a great start here. It's multiple fucking Watery Graves? Are you Yorion Death's Shadow? Kind of wild if that's the case. I think I'm going to be a little greedy here. Surveilling extra lands in the graveyard is really good right now. Yeah, just like that. Life from the Loam, 3 targets. Yeah, get them back. Wasteland, Watery Grave. This game is going well. You know, I wanted this game to go on a little longer to get a feel for what you were doing. That was intentionally multiple Watery Graves. How deep have you gone? How deep have you gone? Like, are we a Death's Shadow deck that is also playing some of the other Death's Shadow adjacent creatures? Testing the memory banks on here. I think it's like Shadow of Mortality is another one that's like that. In good news, I probably don't need to sideboard much. I think just generically versus counterspells, I'm going to board out Crop Rotation. I think I'm just going to board up a couple of lands here. And assuming that like I do something gross with Manabond or Exploration, I'm in pretty good shape. I don't know if I want to like board in Dismember, like anticipating something like Nethergoyf being supporting cast. This is weird. And I usually have a pretty good gut feeling for what my opponents are playing. This one's strange. I have an okay hand. I am a little light on green mana. I have Wasteland, which was very good last time. I have Mulch to dig for more Wastelands or Life from the Loam. I think this is an acceptable hand. It is a little hard for me to make my mulligan decisions not understanding what my opponent is doing. Tamiyo's kind of whatever. We saw one of those off a Force pitch last game. I don't really need to Maze of Ith for that. Let's just play a Field of the Dead and pass. Cats are galloping and going wild. You can have your clue. Okay. So we've got a plan or something adjacent to a plan. We'll just play Wasteland, pass. Wasteland in upkeep. Or now. Oop. I would prefer that the Tamiyo doesn't flip. If the Tamiyo does not flip, I can tax my opponent's resources with Tabernacle and offset the fact that they are getting clues. Ooh. The plan will become Blast Zone that. The plussing is not hyper relevant. More Wasteland. I could mulch and dig for a Loam. I have so many cards here already, though. I could cast Living Wish as bait. I don't really know that that makes sense. I think I'm just going to cast Mulch. It's possible I give up a little bit of value here by casting this. Well, nope. But we did hit a Life from the Loam, which is cool. My opponent may just end up continuing to tick Tamiyo up in which case they're not actually going to get that much value out of the Tamiyo. Yeah, so Tamiyo goes to 6, then Tamiyo goes to 8, then I Blast Zone it. Saga's annoying. I don't think I dredge Life from the Loam here. I think I just take a natural draw because Exploration and Manabond are so good. I really want to Wasteland this Urza Saga. I don't get to do that right now. Play a Living Wish. My opponent has a decent opportunity to force this, Force of Negation it. Negative. I'm going to pick up a Ramunap Excavator for the future. In case I lose that Life from the Loam. Then I'll drop Misty here. Rest down. Man, if my opponent is about to play a Phyrexian Dreadnought directly into my Blast Zone out, that is so fucking good for me. Like, that would be cool. Or Underground Sea. Yeah, that's a Phyrexian Dreadnought. Now, let's keep in mind here that my opponent's deck does have Stifle effects in it, so like it is possible that things go wrong. So that goes away. I'll fetch a Surveil land here. Yeah. I'll just send that to the graveyard. That's great. Not immediately, but for later. And again, I think I am taking natural draw steps. That's very good. I cannot risk that this turn. I'm just going to play Blast Zone and will nuke the world. I'll do it when my opponent makes their Urza Saga token, as I know they are tapped out. So we'll take out Tamiyo and Phyrexian Dreadnought. Big game. And then I get to like start launching into double Maze of Ith exploration situations, and these construct tokens are not actually all that scary. There could be a Pithing Needle here. Booties! Absolutely. So, what was up with the multiple... I don't think I'm doing that right now. The multiple shock lands. You just need 8 Underground Seas? Maze of Ith, Maze of Ith. Land drop 1, land drop 2. There is ward here associated with the lava spur boots, but that's not actually a big deal here. What are my cats doing? I'm sure you can't hear that, but I sure can. Fuck. Yeah, no. Real good. Real fucking good. So not only does that stop Maze of Ith, that's also an artifact which increases my opponent's total power by 2. Well, damn. Really thought we were going to stabilize there. That Pithing Needle was either a lucky top deck or a great thing to hold back. So we've seen a few more creatures. Dismember is not unreasonable. I'm not sure that I actually want it. I don't know that I care that much about Tamiyo. Tamiyo's like fine. I think I'm okay with the Caracas being boarded in rather than it being a Living Wish target. I'll just randomly have it versus Tamiyo sometimes. I have Living Wish for Rex Sage for a Dreadnought. Seems fine. Yeah, but in the previous game, my opponent intentionally did not get Underground Sea, but got the Shock Land. That's so weird. Yes. This is gonna put a Manabond into play, but probably not use it immediately. Here we go. Manabond. That is a Force of Negation. The things get a little weird if my opponent plays a non-basic land, because I very much would like to be wastelanding my opponent. They need multiple mana to set up their stuff. But I also need multiple mana to do my stuff. There's a Tamiyo. I think we are mulching here. Yes. Mulch is successfully a draw 3. Yeah, Maze of Ith, not super good versus Tamiyo in particular. Although, honestly, I don't really care about the clues. Living Wish? I can go ahead and just cast a Living Wish now. Let's just preemptively pick up Reclamation Sage. And then I'm going to pass the turn with a Wasteland available so that my opponent can't just freely get a Surveil land for some immediate value. I'll make them get their basic. You can draw your card. My opponent gets their clue yet again. I'd like to find a Ghost Quarter. Island cycling. No covered island. And passing the turn. I mean, it's fine. Oseju, that can go to graveyard. I can Life from the Loam that back. I don't really even want to cast Life from the Loam right now. I just want to find a Manabond and end this game. I will cast another Living Wish. I'm going to pick up Lumra. An alternate way to play this turn is just Living Wish into Collector Oof to shut off clues. I think that is perfectly valid as well. But again, I don't super care about the clues. Like, they represent card advantage, but I think I have the inevitability in this matchup. Yeah. There's the brainstorm that flips Tamiyo. I wonder if I wasn't supposed to play out 2 Wastelands in respective Field of the Dead. Just a little awkward because like I do have multiple lands with the same name in hand. Edge Maze, sure. You doing that? Seems okay. Sure. Life from the Loam can go to graveyard. Don't really need that right now. I think I'm not wastelanding the sewers. I don't think that mana matters. I'll pick up Boseiju though. Then I have something that addresses a Phyrexian Dreadnought at instant speed. Sure. Is this one trigger? Yeah. Sure. Urza's Saga. Alright. Sure. I think I am Boseijuing that Urza's Saga. Do not like the value that it represents. I have better things to do with my mana in the short term. And we've got some Moto lag. It's figured itself out. Replaced with an Underground Sea. Bowmasters is fine with me. I'm actually happy that my opponent plays out extra creatures here. Makes a Tabernacle better if I randomly floop into one. So I can dredge Life from the Loam to attempt to make Lumra stronger here, which I think I will do. Regular old land stuff. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This will be 6. Yeah, I think I will get a basic here for different names. This is a really big force of will moment for my opponent. Dress down is very good as well. Oh shit, that kills that outright, doesn't it? Yeah, that kills that outright. Urza Saga rules. I don't have any capacity to like play that on 8 mana with Boseiju available. I thought my dress down was going to be just stopping the mill 4 trigger. Obviously wrong. Tamiyo on 8 is problematic. I don't... Okay, no, there are Death Shadows in there. Wild. I don't think I'm dredging Life from the Loam, despite the fact that I would like to hit a couple of specific lands, especially Blast Zone. I think I'm just taking a draw. Maybe that's not true. Maybe I want to hit Blast Zone bad enough that I just do it. Alright. Tabernacle is fine, I guess. Tabernacle, Boseiju, and like Misty. The last one doesn't matter that much. Yeah. I think we will Tabernacle to be annoying. I think it is about to get very difficult for me to resolve cards. I think I'm just going to play a 2/1 creature. We'll target a clue, my opponent will crack it in response, and then my trigger does nothing. So now my opponent's upkeeps become catchier. No to the orc, yes to the real creatures. Now my opponent gets a bunch of cards. They could have attacked with Tamiyo first to end up with another clue. I don't really know that it matters, and it might honestly just be better to plus the other Tamiyo. But my problem here is that I know my opponent has a Pithing Needle. That Pithing Needle on Maze of Ith is a massive pain in my ass. I guess I have Boseiju. So I mostly need to try to leave Boseiju in hand to have an out to Pithing Needle. I have 2 Life from the Loams in graveyard. 2 Maze of Iths. I don't really care about your Wasteland. I think I'm taking a natural draw step. There's just so much benefit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is 7. Let's attempt to get this show on the road. Opponent could wasteland me here. Take out the Tabernacle. That's fine. So this is an intervening if, so that gets countered. Not that big of a deal. I think I will attack into the Tamiyo with a 1/1 creature. Yeah, we can trade these. That's fine. And I don't think I am wastelanding lands. I don't think mana is a bottleneck. Even if I were to take out 2 or 3 of my opponent's lands, they still very easily can like dress down into Dreadnought or whatever. That's getting back a Force of Negation, so my opponent wants to address my Life from the Loams, which is fine. We are planning on winning eventually. That may not actually happen in reality, but that's the plan. An Oculus. That's annoying. That goes wide of Maze of Ith. So my opponent manifests Dread. Alright, I mean, I think I'm just going to take this trade. So field, Tabernacle, Ghost Quarter. My opponent has plenty of cards to pitch to the point where that's not even a real consideration in my mind. I don't think I need to wasteland my opponent off of the mana there. I'll just take that trade, then drop a Maze of Ith. Cameo pluses. Opponent brainstorms. I don't want the Force of Negation to come back yet again, so I will be going for a Life from the Loam Dredge again on my turn. I don't know exactly how many. I'm probably going to wasteland that. I don't think I need to do it immediately. Woohoo! I'm not even going for the equip. We will Maze the Oculus. I will take 2. This is conveniently exactly 5 mana. There's the Manifest Dread. I could take natural draws to not let my opponent tempo me with Force of Will. It's possible that I just have enough hits that that's fine. But I already have 2 Tabernacles in graveyard. Maybe I just need to naturally draw to not get tempoed out here. To do this, Wasteland and Urza Saga. Pass. Take 2 damage per turn cycle. Well, okay, that's not true. Like 2 plus 2 plus 2, and so on. We'll maze 2 creatures. Yeah, I think I like taking natural draws right now. Ooh, unfortunate. But we had planned for that already. Watery Grave. Take 0. Okay. Probably will be wastelanding that. Opponent manifests Dread. Exploration is not bad. Let's cast that, see what my opponent has to say about it. It resolves. It lets me do very silly things if I do end up picking up a Field of the Dead. I'll take out Urza's Saga now. I have another Surveil land. I think I make 1 land drop and then hold the rest back. Sure. That's fine. I don't care about the ward. I can very easily pay that right now. And we'll do the other one. I guess I let that ability resolve. Do the other one on Brazen Borrower. Take a little damage. Cameo gets Force of Negation. Yep, that's fine. We're intentionally not returning Life from Loams here to not get tempoed out by Force of Negation and Force of Wills. Oh shit, I don't have another Surveil Land. They're both in play right there. Then my line was objectively bad. Opponent manifests Dread. And I think at this point I am effectively dead. I don't think I'm literally dead yet, but I think at this point my opponent has enough. I think conceptually we are supposed to win this matchup just in terms of how the decks line up, but that is not what happened in reality. GG's.
Today's video is sponsored by Moxfield.com, and honestly, they're just the best at what they do. If you need to keep your deck lists online, this is the way to do it. They have all sorts of different viewing options. You can condense that text if you like things to be tight. You can make them visual grids. You can put them in stacks. You've got all sorts of different ways to kind of view and visualize your deck lists. And they also have some really cool functionality, like allowing you to see playtest hands and even fully playtest your decks. So check them out.
Yeah, looks great. Like, we have exploration, we have additional land drops, we have ghost quarters. They're hoping to not be playing against spell-based combo here specifically, as that potentially just wins the game before I do anything cool. Blooded Strand? Pass turn. Living Wish do anything interesting right now? Not really. I gotta get Ramunap Excavator this turn. And that's, like, fine. Pick that up. And I think I'm okay with making both land drops here. Another Flooded Strand. Opponent is fetching out their basics, despite the fact that I have Ghost Quarters in play that can destroy them and allow them to research out basics. Are we just high-tiding? Or just fucking out here high-tiding? Okay. So, it's a little difficult for me interact with that. It's not artifact mana. I can Wreck Sage, get rid of a Sapphire Medallion. I think my Tabernacle is probably not very relevant here. I might end up Ghost Quartering my own Tabernacle just to get extra green sources. I don't think I need to do that yet, because I could just draw Yaba Maya. Nice. Land drop 1. Living Wish. Yes. Wreck Sage. 2 mana. Blow up Sapphire Medallion. Pass turn. I think I am paying to keep Wreck Sage to attack for 2 with it. The traditional High Tide doesn't really play Sapphire Medallion. Some of the, like, weirdo versions, there's specific names for them, with, like, Cloud of Fairies and such, sometimes will play Sapphire Medallion. Or it could be some bigger Storm deck that is doing some... Oh, geez. Mind's Desire. There we go. Mind's Desire combo lines. Oh, no. Here we go. Yeah, so there's the Cloud of Fairies call out. So if you haven't seen this one, it just untaps lands. There's a Sapphire Medallion. Snap it back to hand. Untap some islands. Cloud of Fairies again. Fun's doing great for just having 2 lands. There's Time Spiral. Manabond is interesting, as long as I get a Field of the Dead off crop rotation. But my opponent can now just get a 3rd land into play, and this is probably bad for me. The thing about this deck, though, is that it is very volatile and very high variance. So even though my opponent has drawn 7 cards, that does not necessarily mean that they are going to win the game. I think it's likely that they do, but they can absolutely fizzle. Yeah, there's Mind's Desire. So now I decide how much I value my own time. There is High Tide times 2, plus another Time Spiral, plus like some snaps. I don't think I'm guaranteed dead yet. I think if another Mind's Desire hits the stack, though, I think at that point I would probably be pretty comfortable conceding. But we'll narrate it for the viewers here, because this is not something that comes up a lot in Legacy anymore. It's just very clearly power crept out of the format. Untap some more lands. Brain Freeze. Okay. Yeah, no. That's fine. That's enough Storm. Damping Sphere. Good. Dismember is, I guess, playable for Cloud of Fairies snap stuff. It's not an exciting card to actually draw. Rex Sage, I think I want to be able to wish for... I think I want natural draws on Field of the Dead. Probably swap Field of the Dead for, like, a... Actually, probably Maze of Ith. Maze of Ith is pretty bad. Now let's actually turn this into that. Tabernacle also just, like, not really relevant. Tabernacle get in my way more than Maze of Ith. Tabernacle might get in my way more than Maze of Ith. Can I cut that many lands? Is 33 enough lands? It's a little light. Can I get rid of crop rotation? My crop rotations aren't amazing. I think I'm just going to keep a couple extra lands for naturally drawn Manabond hands. Then I only go down 2 lands. This is mediocre. I don't think I am excited about this. I really want Manabond hands here. Yes. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I need 2 more lands to get to where I want to get to. I think I'm going to get rid of Exploration. I think I'm going to try to resolve the Manabond immediately. Not give my opponent extra looks at counter spells to stop it. So I could just put all of these into play and surveil towards Life from the Loam and be better off if my opponent does a draw 7. Or I could try 2 combo zombies. I think I'm just going to put them all into play. I think that surveil land is really valuable. Because if I find a Mulch, Life from the Loam, the other card that is like Mulch, Winding Way, or sorry, I'm not doing Winding Way, Living Wish was the other 2-drop that I have. I think that's all very good. Surveil, do not need extra Caracas. That in fact would have been a very bad draw. I think I'm going to hold that land for a turn. Second land drop for my opponent. Nothing else. Another Manabond is cruel. I guess I'll play it out. I think there's a good chance that I'm just kind of dying without doing anything here. We've got a Brainstorm. And a Fetch to clear. This is the turn where we have to start worrying about my opponent potentially comboing. High Tide or not High Tide. Spell Seeker snap lines are kind of cute. Okay, yeah, this is the sort of thing I wanted. So now we will mulch, hopefully hit a bunch of lands, and then set up for something cool. That's a little mid. We are making some zombie friends. I don't think this is going to outclock what my opponent is doing. We chose to become better against graveyard-based combo by playing ley lines, and then we lose out in matches like this and I am perfectly fine with making that trade given the expected metagame, but it is very, very punishing here. So my opponent will be able to like play Spell Seeker and snap it a couple of times if they need to build Storm Count for one reason or another. We're just going to get some untapping here. Lands are tapping for 3 at this point. And we've got more untapping. A fetch. There's Spell Seeker. Okay, so a Spell Seeker snap loop is probably about to happen, where my opponent is going to snap the Spell Seeker and then search out the remaining copies of Snap. I'm not going to narrate that. So now that all 4 copies of Snap are in the graveyard, something different needs to happen. Echoing Truth, okay. So Echoing Truth can then return Spell Seeker, and that is going to get my opponent over the edge in terms of Storm Count, because we are now at Storm Count 15, so then this can just be a Brain Freeze to kill me. Oh, okay. They're just playing with their food now. They're just going to Echoing Truth it all again. Oh, what just happened? Discards Rebuild to draw a card? I'm not crazy, right? Brain Freeze is 2 mana. I think my opponent missed Deterministic Lethal to just keep playing with their food. They found it anyway, but like when your opponent is guaranteed dead, just fucking take it, folks. GG's. Alright, I will be keeping this opening hand. There is a disaster level situation that could happen though. If Underground Mortuary is Mox Opal, what are we doing over there? Oh, it's gonna be some Echo combo. Mystic Forge stuff? Sure. Arn Tutors. Getting Paradox Engine. Okay. Understood. It feels difficult to win this game, but not impossible. I think I Wasteland City of Traders to try to keep my opponent from getting enough mana to cast Paradox Engine. Untapped Green Source as my random draw here would be cool. Negative. Opponent has 1 unknown card. We're also not very far away from Mycosynth Lattice also just being a problem. Yeah. So now with this on the stack, my opponent should crack LED. Okay, maybe they don't have Lattice. Alright. Well, Forest, Exploration, Mortuary. No. We are very specifically looking for Living Wish for Collector Oof. I have 4 mana to do that next turn. Huddle. There's the Paradox Engine. You have something to get it going? Holy shit, I get another turn. Blast Zone. On 1, not doing it. I mean, these are both tapped for right now. Alright. Actually, do I just want to tick up Blast Zone to 2 so that if my opponent misses on something to get these untapped, I can just blow them up? I probably want to do that. My opponent can just tutor for a Tormod's Crypt to untap their shit, so like that shouldn't happen. But I already thought that I should have died, and I didn't, so fuck. I'm not gonna play through this. I think Mystic Forge, Grim Monoliths is like I think I die to this on average. I'm gonna value my time here. Damping Sphere is reasonable. I want to tutor for this almost every time. I think I board in Ramunap. I want this extra Field of the Dead in the deck, just at the expense of some random other land. Tabernacle's not super important. I'm going to go turn 1 Tabernacle into a Caracas for variety, and call that good. This is fine. Manabond hands are probably better in this matchup, but I don't think we get to throw back an Exploration double mulch hand. I think that is just far too strong. I'll play Field of the Dead here. That way I do have guaranteed 4 mana next turn, which I don't currently otherwise have. Sure. Second Monolith, so opponent does get to 4 mana on turn 1 for one of their broken cards. Oh, going bigger. E. On tap. There's Paradox Engine. Pass. Get locked. There is no other way to say that. Just absolute, just Yu-Gi-Oh! Heart of the Cards, literal exact draw that I needed. Collector Roof. Bam. That was very lucky. I mean, I played towards it by playing Field of the Dead on turn 1 so that I would have 4 mana for if that exact line happened. Don't dismember me. Nice. So we will go to Punchies. Get in. Opponent's at 16. I will mulch. Get a land. Make a land drop. Mulch. Nice. It's a little awkward that these are multiple Field of the Deads. I'll live. We're just going to take out that Ancient Tomb here. Yeah, like we have Snow-Covered Forest X2, Field of the Dead X3. We'll make it work. I'm just going to Living Wish for Lumra. Like that very actively becomes the plan here. Opponent's at 14. Field of the Dead. Living Wish. Yes. Lumra. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to hold this land for right now. It can be a spell for the next turn cycle and then be converted into a land. The 1, 2, or rather 1, 2, 3. I could have 4, 5. I think it is fine to play these and just drop Lumra, attempting to trigger Field of the Dead. Yeah. Send it. Very nice. And then this is just lethal. Turn 5 is a pretty good speed for my deck here. Alright, let's draw Collector Oof again. Like, Living Wish is very, very much the plan here. Hold on. Did I say I was boarding in Rexage and then I dragged in Ramunap Excavator? Because it sure looks like that's what happened. I think I'm always wishing for Collector Oof just every single time. This is another Exploration Living Wish hand. Like, my sequencing is just the same as last time, including tapped Field of the Dead on turn 1. Yeah, if you are wondering why we are playing Living Wish, it is for the possibility of doing this. It really lets you steal some games back versus combo decks with Collector Oof and Fairy Macabre. Our game 1 versus combo does not feel good without something like Ancient Tombs and Spheres in the main deck. Here. Into key. On tap. Alright. 1 card left. It's the One Ring. Was there a way to do this where you don't play the second Grim Monolith and you get to untap this? I don't think so. Oh? Yeah. Yeah. Additional land 1. Exploration. Additional land 2. I have Collector Oof next turn. My hand got even stronger. We'll see if my opponent can do something nutty on this turn. There's an untap on the Monolith. A Basalt Monolith. Oh shit, that's just it. Cool. So, land drop, Living Wish. Yes. Collector Oof. Drop Collector Oof. So, between One Ring bleed damage and Collector Oof attacks, this does not give my opponent too much time to find an out to this. I also get to Wasteland City of Traders on my turn, which is pretty bad for my opponent. So, land drop, Wasteland City, boot up Lair of the Hydra. They don't really need to play Manabond here. Punchies for 4. I am dealing... Well, it's kind of variable damage per turn cycle because it's how much I can pump into Lair of the Hydra based on other actions. So now my opponent needs land plus Dismember to get going again. And Urza Saga isn't going to do it. I Ghost Quarter that. Misty Rainforest. I don't need to fetch. I don't need to fetch. Just pump it all into the lair. I could hold up Ghost Quarter as well. Opponent's at 5, which really means that they are at 3. So now we are getting to the point where Lair of the Hydra on its own is just lethal. Urza's Workshop. Well, you certainly have Metalcraft. We have gotten the GG. Living Wish gets paid overtime today. Thank you for your service, Collector Oof, because that matchup was fucking horrifying. Alrighty, we have an Exploration hand, which is absolutely what we want to be looking for while playing this deck. We want Exploration or Manabond in most hands, preferably also with a 2-drop of some kind. No, we're probably dead to whatever this is. Seems like opponent is storming. Gamble. Okay, so Leyline will at least be respectable in this matchup. We'll take it, I guess. Manabond? My turn is weird. My turn is very, very weird. Or maybe it's boring and I just Living Wish for Collector Oof. Because Collector Oof is bros. Try to make it look like we're a blue deck. No to that. I probably don't need to worry about days. If days happens, it happens on Collector Oof anyway. I'm going to cast this now like this. Go for the Oof. Land drop 1. Land drop 2. Attempt Oof. Yet, we're in play. Alright, so the reason that I said my turn was potentially going to get weird because I might end up living wishing for this Field of the Dead while also putting in Tabernacle at the same time, hence tying up my mana for the considerable future. That is now not happening. Done that in. One is at 18. Land drop 1, land drop 2, Manabond, more other Manabond. I think I saved them. It's like weird. Echo is a thing that can happen, and then I might want these lands in play, but I could also just find a way to get a Field of the Dead and then immediately convert these things into zombies. So there's a little bit of tension there. I'm just playing out their one artifact. I don't think Blast Zone needs to tick up. Opponent is probably not playing very many permanents. Ghost Quarter. Sure. Send it. 16. I will do the do you have a basic land check? Answer is yes. I think I will again hold these lands. Who would win an entirely beautifully constructed combo deck built around artifacts? Or one beardy boy. There's an LED. That's not a surveil land. Send it in. When it's at 14. I'm gonna make the land. I'm gonna make one land drop, just hedging. Field of the Dead plus 2 lands is already very substantial in terms of damage. City of Traders now. After seeing City of Traders, like, do I need to tick up towards Burgi? I guess if I see it, I can react to it. I think the difference between 18 and 19 is not super relevant. I'm just going to pick up a land with a different name here. Heyo. Wasteland, City of Traders. Punch in. Down to 12. Still say no. Will be lucky. Draw Living Wish. Prevail for the 3rd game in a row. Legend Rule a Mox Opal. Alright, I don't want more mana bonds. I just want to draw something that finds me Field of the Dead, or a Living Wish for a Lumra to kind of end things here. Alright, looks like opponent's just discarding this time. Discarding a Grim Monolith. You got to attack for 2. After seeing Grim Monolith, we can consider ticking up Blast Zone to 2. I don't really know that we need to. You don't get takesy backsies on Black Zone, the last zone. Attack for 2. Collector Oof, the hero of its own story. This is slightly embarrassing Goldfish speed for my deck, though. Like it is turn 9, and I am one, lightning bolt style card away from just having this game collapse, despite the fact that I've had it controlled since turn 2. My next draw, of course, will be another Manabond. Gamble, or well, Rite of Flame hitting Graveyard might not be bad. My opponent has more Rite of Flames. A Wasteland. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Alright, so we're like totally fine as far as Field of the Dead is concerned. Send in for 2. Opponent is at 4. I'll pass the turn. I maybe at this point could just dump these lands into play, because if I draw a Field of the Dead, it's just damn near lethal on its own, just by making 1/2/2 zombie. Alright. Opponent discards the defense grid. Send in. Opponent's at 2. I'm gonna just play some Maze of Iths, just in case things get weird. I don't think they will. 0 to death. Full 20 Collector Oof. Ooh. 3 mana. Jessica's Will for 3 random cards. I don't imagine that does it. The Rite of Flames are getting better, but Jessica's Will lets you play those from exile. They can't use Simian Spirit Guide for mana from exile. That was a game of Magic the Gathering. Alright, Damping Sphere, get in here. Leyline of the Void for Echo, get in here. I probably board in Rex Sage. This is my primary plan to win the game. I think I want this extra Field of the Dead in the deck. This means boarding out 7 cards, which is like a lot of cards for a land-based deck. I can probably go down on some Maze of Ith Tabernacle type stuff. If my opponent does something like empty, I can wish for a Tabernacle. Otherwise, I think it just gets in the way of my Field of the Dead more often than not. Want crop rotation. Well, crop rotation for Bojuka Bog is actually not that effective. Yeah, that's not actually all that effective. Because a lot of times Echo is just getting discarded to LED, and then there's not a priority pass for me to successfully nuke the yard. It can do some things versus some other random stuff that could happen, like Past in Flames. I never get to touch Exploration, Manabond, Living Wish. I think I'm going to end up cutting 2 lands and getting rid of the crop rotations. Without the crop rotation, Bojuka Bog is weak, and then I just do something like go down a Maze of Ith. This also opens up Living Wish for Bojuka Bog. I would like to open on a Living Wish or a Leyline. That is a Living Wish. Manabond is good. Wasteland is okay. This is not the crazy turn 2 premium Living Wish hand. So now the question I need to ask is this better than a Leyline of the Void hand that stops echoes? This is turn 3 Collector Oof on the draw. I don't actually think that's acceptable. I'm going to try to fish a little bit. This is not impressive against a combo deck. This doesn't actually do anything. We're going to go to 4. We're looking for Leyline at this point. Ah, good God. Okay. Ghost Quarter makes this less sketchy than it looks, but it sure is sketchy. And the hope is that my opponent kept an Echo hand, and I just bricked that. Ancient Tomb, Grim Monolith, LED, Battle. We're working towards something here. Burning Wish. Is it just goblins? Relying on empty has gotten a lot worse in a world where Tamiyo exists, because a Tamiyo plus just invalidates Empty the Warrens for the rest of the game. And unfortunately, we're not drawing towards the best outs here. I will do a tapped Field of the Dead. So the first hand that I had that had just a turn 3 Collector Oof certainly would be too slow versus this. Or it'd also be turn 3 Tabernacle. And I'm already dead to that. Rough. Alright, so now that I've confirmed that my opponent does have Empty the Warrens as a plan, let's make a small swap. Let's go Maze of Ith out for Tabernacle in. And I don't know, junk something like Field of Ruin for the last one. Yeah, this is fine. So Leyline into play. I think I just want an ETB tapped land out of the way immediately. I think that's Hedge Maze here because of Life from the Loam specifically. That can go to Graveyard. I can bring it back with Loam at some point. Mountain. Pass. Great. So do I want to just play Field of the Dead or play like Mulch here? I have land drops covered for a few turns. I'm just going to play Field of the Dead. There are some things a few turns down the line where I might need 4 mana in a turn for things like Living Wish, Collector Oof, and potentially Boseiju, that Ancient Tomb. Burgi is fine. Oh, we're going now. You've got it. I have Tabernacle if my opponent just makes a bunch of goblins. Romox. Rite of Flame imprinted. Defense grid doesn't really matter for me. Galvanic Relay. Solid value with a storm count of 6. Some goodies over there. With an extra Lotus Petal and Mox Opal in exile, I can't shut off blue mana for Echoing Truth. My opponent can bounce a Leyline. Some weird gamble things could end up happening. Can Boseiju Ancient Tomb to reduce raw mana amount. Can Mulch to try to find Wasteland. Bouncing Burgi probably denies more mana than that line, though. Am I more interested in taking out something like LED? LED is Black Lotus for these cards. Yeah. Let's take out LED. My opponent can have their Volk. And then I will bounce Burgi. And we're hoping for the best. There's a lot of cards in exile, though. So I imagine this is just replay Burgi, Echoing Truth, my Leyline after playing out some artifact mana. And then gamble for Echo Go. There's the Echoing Truth. There's the gamble. There is one card in hand, though. Echo goes to graveyard successfully. There's the Echo. There's a defense grid in play, so even if I had anything, I could not take advantage of it. I do not have green as of right now, so I do not have Living Wish into Collector Oof immediately. Oh wait, could I with Ghost Quarter? Good with Ghost Quarter. Chromox? Surely I'm dead now. Yeah, there's Tendrils and there's the black for it. That'll do. Gonna put Collector Roof into play. GG's. I think this is a great hand to talk about mulligans in Legacy. This is a hand that has lands and spells, but I don't think just goes fast enough. I think without an Exploration or a Manabond, this is not actually strong enough. I'm going to fish for a better hand here. This is unimpressive. We'll go to 5. On 5, I'm probably keeping this. A Tabernacle goes back. What is Living Wish doing here? Living Wish is probably being Field of the Dead for Manabond. So I just get rid of a land, I think. This is less stable than the first hand, but probably a higher overall power level. No, we are not. We're not using Manabond. I need that Living Wish. Ancient Tomb. And pass. Okay. Don't really have a choice in terms of what land I play here. So this is just going to be Living Wish. I will grab Field of the Dead. Now, it's a little weird, but I can just Manabond here. I do want Life from the Loam in Graveyard. Oh, Oliphant. Wait, hold up. Was that a second one? A second Oliphant in the shadow of the first. So we discard the Life from the Loam, which means that I can dredge Life from the Loam. And as long as Life from the Loam hits some lands as a follow-up, like, this hand is very strong. Don't Blood Moon me, I have a family. Oh, that's fine. I Mazavith that forever. Now my opponent gets value on the attack. Don't get me wrong. Boop. Simeon Spirit Guide. So, dredge. Wah! Alright. Alright. The deck giveth and the deck taketh away. Yes, I will use Manabond's ability. Could have flexed by just discarding my Life from the Loam with my Manabond trigger. Misplay. So, one of us is going to do something broken that crushes the other person. I think it has a higher chance of my opponent, like, finding a Blood Moon that crushes me than it is me hitting something that just goes wild. My opponent has +1 draw every turn from this. Fable's fine. Basically things that are not Blood Moon or Magus of the Moon. Oh, yeah. 1, 2, 3. Bam and bam. Go to end step. Yes. Put them all in. Now each one of those triggers Field of the Dead, giving me a zombie, and then each one of these fetches in turn will trigger it again. I can go to graveyard. Should have more strongly considered order of operations, though. Like, I think I potentially double fetch first and then surveil. I want one of these to get a regular non-snow-covered forest, and then I want the other thing to just get something with a different name. I guess that's like Bayou. Or yet another surveil land. And now hopefully just like 10-ish power worth of zombies gets there, even if my opponent Blood Moons. Multiple Bone Crusher Giants here. Bone Crusher Giant does some interesting things versus the One Ring damage prevention. Sundering Eruption. That stops me from blocking. But I guess overall that's fine. We say yes to that. We get regular forest. Get another friend. That maze just comes back another turn down the line. There's more. Oh, shit. I hope I don't die. My stuff doesn't block anymore. So this will be 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Potentially plus another 5. Can't block sad zombies. I don't quite have lethal on the crackback. I have 12. It is very hard for me to tell what my opponent should do without knowing the extra cards in their hand. I think you just throw this immediately, throw this next turn, and that probably gets there. That alone is 10 damage, which makes fetching even once a little awkward. There's a new land drop. Stomp my face. That's the third Bone Crusher. Now throw this, or throw this is just lethal without involving the combat step. I think I see if they forget to throw something with Broadside. Nice. Okay. So now we dredge. Tabernacle. Okay. Oseju, Tabernacle, Maze. Yeah, and yeah. Boseju, Fable, make Tabernacle as land drop. Think. I'm going to put them both in. It doesn't matter then. How many things can I attack with? I want to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 things back. I think I'm just gonna fully hold back defensively. Game got weird. Now this happens. Opponent ends up down 2 life to pay for their stuff. Did he? Oh, I'm so glad that I'm not dead and that I'm still playing this game. Again, if my opponent throws this last turn and this turn, I'm dead to that. There is Bone Crusher Giant. Now what? Yuri. Alright, I mean, this sort of thing is why I wanted to stay full defensive. I lose 2 zombies. I think I'm still okay. So, the Magus of the Moon, which is not currently playable, is good for me. It's a 6. I can just maze that. I need to put 2 in front of Broadside to kill that. So the Broadside can't fling just a treasure token at a zombie and stop that. So 2 go here. 1 or 2 go here. I maybe just maze this. The final Bone Crusher Giant being the last card in hand would suck. Don't think I'm playing around that. Block, 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 block. What is Broadside doing? Okay, sure. Let's just maze this now. I take 2. I kill Broadside. I'm at 7. Magus does not happen. I think I'm chilling with these fetch lands still. I think if I win, I will win overwhelmingly. I think I'm just going to play safer versus cards like Fury. And the longer I save these fetch lands, the higher a chance there is that I just find another Field of the Dead and the fetch lands end up representing additional resources. A Blast Zone is interesting. Go to the Ruin lets me search for a land too. Yeah. Field, Blast Zone for 3. Oseju. 1 and 2. Oh. Make a land drop, make a Field of the Dead token. I will Field of Ruin. Actually, I don't want to do that yet. I will do this. Say yes, make 2 more zombies. Then Field of Ruin, the Ancient Tomb, I think. Maybe the City of Traders is better. That one just the City of Traders. I don't think it matters much. 1 and 2. Pick up a snow-covered forest. Make another zombie. Tax opponent's resources. New Ancient Tomb. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18 damage. -4. Shatter Skull Smashing. Yeah, you got it. Ooh, that costs the opponent some life. Ooh, are they dead? Wonder if they're dead. Broadside, which is not castable. This is 7. 1 blocker. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. So I maze you. Take 4, go to 3, go to 1, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Easy. Wait, do I just have this if I also block? So block 2 on here. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Let's confirm fetchables. 1 fetchable. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. So block 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Yeah, I just take 4 here. Win the game at 2. And take Blast Zone up as well. I have to pay for some zombies. Dredge life from the Loam. Go to combat. Swing lethal. 10 damage. I knew if we won that one, we were going to win it by a lot in like one big go. I think my opponent misplayed and gave me opportunities to remain in the game, which I am very thankful for, because I was fully dead to just 10 damage to the face, and my opponent did not take that line. I want this extra Field of the Dead in the main deck, I think. I want the extra Tabernacle in the main deck as well. Playing Rex Sage in the main deck is not crazy. Playing Dismember in the main deck is not crazy. I don't think I want these. Let's turn Caracas into another Tabernacle. Let's turn Bojuka Bog into Field of the Dead. How do we feel about crop rotation? Crop rotation's fine. It's extra Mazovith, it's extra Tabernacle, it's extra Wasteland, extra Forest in a pinch as well. I think because of Blood Moon, I'm going to leave this as a tutor target. That feels important. Do I want to be able to crop rotation? No? Maybe? I'm on the fence on those last two cuts. These are really good cards. Really good cards for the matchup. I think this is too greedy. I think it's too greedy. This is very good at blowing up lands. Doesn't have a basic. Means I get got by Blood Moon. I think I'm gonna mulligan it. Okay. Redundant Yavimaya definitely goes. I think I have to keep the other Yavimaya. Like, this is very awkward because, like, these are not mana producing lands without this. But I think I need every single card in this hand for different reasons. I think I am not trying to win the game immediately. I think I get rid of Field of the Dead. All right. Red mana. Full land. Yeah. I mean, we fully knew that was potentially an issue. So let's hope to draw Dismember. There's two of them. That's fine. What do you name with that? Oh, they think I am a green-white build. I am not a green-white build. Okay. So I will Exploration, and we'll make our additional land drops. And we'll just see how good my opponent's follow-up is. Like, it's very scary if something like a Broadside comes down and follows this up. But, like, if this is it, I can draw out of this. Another Disruptor Flute on Boseiju. That's reasonable in an attempt to protect this first one. Hey, there's the Boseiju. So, good hit. So, we'll drop some lands. Living Wish into Lumra is kind of my long-term plan here. That goes bigger than most creatures my opponent has. Spirit Guide. Yep. I mean, every point of damage matters at this point. That's a Living Wish. I will cast that. Yes. I am thinking about whether or not I want to do something like Ramunap Excavator that just walls both 2/2s. I am drawing towards 3 forests to cast Lumra. Lumra does not get removed if Lumra hits play. I think I am going to play towards Lumra under the understanding that sometimes this does not work. I do not believe against my opponent's deck that has like Shatterskull Smashings and Bone Crusher Giants and such that Ramunap Excavator ends up just winning the game outright. I think this is how I want to play this out. It will just fully be beyond the range of red removal. Moto? Hello? Alright. Land drop 1, land drop 2, and we wait on green. I take 4 on the next attack step. Go to 6. Another Spirit Guide. Yep. Yeah, this is about to be real good. Wait, hold on. I should math out Lumra real quick. I'm going to have enough zombies that I don't need to worry about Mazovith, actually. Tap that for mana. I want to Wasteland my opponent twice. 1, 2, 3. Maybe this does matter. I want to tap 1 fetch land here. Yeah. So Nuke Magus. Fetch a snow-covered basic. Field of the Dead trigger. 1 name, 2 name, 3 names, 4 names, 5 names, 6 names. I'll Wasteland once. Actually, I guess I can play Yavimaya and Wasteland twice and return both Wastelands. So Field of the Dead, Wasteland this, Lumra. Yeah, okay, fair. Let's see how many I get back. Nice. Cool. Let's say if we die to Bone Crusher Giant to face, Manabond can go to graveyard. I am at 1. I'll play that as a secondary land, make 1 extra thing. Pass. That was a great fucking turn. Let's see if we die. Opponent presumably needs to sacrifice both Spirit Guides here to be playing towards Bone Crusher Giant, Stomp to face as outs. Lumra Trample, I forget. No, Vigilance and Reach. Am I dead? One of us is dead. GG's! Yes! That one feels good. Ooh, wow, that was tight. Whew, that was fun. All right, overall thoughts on the deck list. Not bad. It's totally solid. Uh, it's solid for what it is. The deck does not have that much game in game 1 versus opposing combo, but if you are registering a 4x Tabernacle, 4x Maze of Ith deck, like, you do not have your crosshairs on combo. You have your crosshairs on fair decks. And I felt like we had pretty good game versus the fair decks. We lost to that Yorion, Death's Shadow, Stifle Knot, Oculus thing. I think if we played that matchup a few times, we would probably come up ahead more often than not, though. I like how that looks on paper, so I do still feel pretty good versus the slower decks. Magus of the Moon, obviously a problematic card. We wiggled through, but it was very tough. Again, some sort of fight creature, some sort of large-ish creature that costs a green and a bunch of colorless might be reasonable. But generally speaking, I feel pretty good about this list. I feel weird about crop rotation. It feels like crop rotation is less important in a deck like this than it is to a deck that is trying to assemble like an A plus B combo like Dark Depths. Crop rotation was one of my go-to things to cut. It did not feel necessary to the deck. It's helpful. The original build had 4x. I'm pretty comfortable at 2x. I don't think I would want to go up on them. Generally speaking, thumbs up on the deck. You know, if you happen to have 4 Tabernacles, go ahead and take it to your FNM and have a bunch of fun. All right, folks, I hope you all have a wonderful rest of the day. And if you need your Tabernacles, you know where to go. Promo code ThrabenU will save you 5% on your order. All right, see ya.